communities and be dedicating all my time to this. So
okay.
yeah, but I'm getting ready to get all that stuff together to have
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so okay, now we're YouTube live. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Oh, let's go Facebook Live. Okay. So like I said, when you hear the music, you'll know that we're live. Okay. Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land, you know. Okay. Wow. Just gave me a notice that 200 people waiting to sign me up. We were just talking about that. Ain't that interesting? Okay. Right. Okay. All right. Like I said, when you hear the music, so like I said, YouTube Live, y'all know how we do out here. So we're just getting it together for a minute. Okay. You gonna sit like that, Deborah? No, you can sit how you want to. I'm gonna adjust your your microphone.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
I just was trying to.
That's cool. I just want to pick up your voice the best we can.
All right.
Okay.
I don't see it on here live.
Let me see. Try it again. I'm just singing it. So.
There we go.
You see it?
Okay. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
You got it? All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wow, you got folks lined up already on the show. Wow. Let me get ghetto and stir my drink up with my pen.
Right.
Okay.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah. My mom out here. She was the first ones out here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my mother out here. So when you get her interested, you done did something.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. You got to give the people power.
You got to give.
You got to empower.
You got to. Yeah.
You have to. And you have to do that with knowledge.
Yeah.
People perish without knowledge.
Folks is out here. I ain't never seen this now. You must have laid something on them.
All right.
I'm just telling you. I can see the count, you know.
All right.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ear to the Ground 197. I'm your host, Bryan Foley is my name, and as my song says, we must give all power to the people. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. We kind of back to my regular schedule on Saturday mornings at 11. You know, college football seasons is going on, so a lot of my guests aren't able to make it because of that time. And then there's a lot of things going on Saturday, particularly during the spring, summer, and fall months. So hopefully I can keep this consistent at the regular time and to continue that to bring you quality information, what have you. My mom, who's out there this morning, good morning, Mom. I see you out there. She be on my head about, you know, what time the show's supposed to start and stuff like that. So she said, what she told me, Deborah, is that when she scheduled her TV time, that's what time she expect the show to start.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep it like that anyway. So we just want to remind everybody that if you will, and some of you already have, good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Mary Jo, my queen sister, Tracy Davis of Tracy Sweet Touch Production. As you can see already, some have already hit Y1 into the comment bar. Some have hit liked already, and some have already shared. And the purpose for doing that is not just to get more viewers engaged, because the app that I have doesn't allow me to tag people into it. So I need you to do me a favor, hit like, hit share, and hit Y1. And that's the reason why I asked you to do that. And I'm saying that I got Deborah Thomas in the studio, but first, Deborah, do you know why I asked people to type Y1 into the comments? See, now you're taking Kalista's spot.
Say it again. What's the initial?
Y1, the letter Y and the number one. First. There you go. That's why I believe, because I believe in Ypsilanti first. Yep.
Amen.
You know why I believe in Ypsilanti first? Born and raised on the south side of Ypsilanti, that is the center of my universe. Mm-hmm. Everything emanates, permeates, radiates, and begins on the south side of Ypsilanti. Mm-hmm. So if we can get the south side of Ypsilanti and Ypsilanti together, then I believe in my the rest of the world would come into harmony. Okay. But anyway, that's my philosophy. And that's what I work on.
Your community first.
My community first.
And then everyone else.
Everybody else will follow in line. Yes. If we get our stuff together.
Take care of the head.
Yeah, take care of the head.
That's your head.
The behind will follow.
The body will follow.
I know who it is. So look. Okay. So anyway, I got Miss Deborah Thomas back by popular demand. In all sincerity, I mean that. There was a lot of positive comments. There was a lot of enlightenment. There's a lot of information that people had received that they had never heard before. I had never heard before. And more importantly, it was expressed into our culture in such a way that we could understand.
Right.
Okay. And I know I'm kind of out of order how I do a little stuff like that and everything. Somebody says, Stephanie Holman says, good morning.
Good morning. Holman,
that's your daughter. Yes. Okay. All right.
Stephanie.
Okay. So we want to get right at this. But first, what is WOW? W-O-W. What is that first? Let's start right there. Okay.
WOW is Wonders of the World, which is our children.
Okay.
They are our wonders of the world, right? And so God just gave me that name in a dream. And I birthed it forth. And it is part of my mentorship program for children that are dealing with unwanted behaviors, that are struggling with social and emotional skills, dealing with not knowing how to communicate, self-esteem, changes in their lives, just typical life-changing. The same experiences we have with life change, children have them too, right? And so that particular program is geared to help them with those type of skills, social and emotional skills, which is SEL, social and emotional learning. Okay. And that is what I believe in. I am convinced and persuaded because for many years, I have done this. I've been in this field for over 30 years working with children. And I've been working with early education for over 20 years. So I believe in starting when they're young, even as infants. You can help infants even stimulate their brains with activities and sensory activities. And a lot of people don't understand that. The importance of belly time for babies.
Hold on, belly time.
Belly time.
What's belly time? I just watched the movie Belly, so you got to give me some clarity. Okay.
Well, belly time is when you put your infant on the floor and you put them on their bellies.
Okay.
And you allow them to have that movement, which is it stimulates them.
Okay.
Right. So that part of time, doing it intentionally so many times a day will help them keep stimulated, keep their blood moving, their brain flowing. By having belly time. So we don't understand some of the little simple things we can do with our children from infant and as they grow up, and with the intentional, we have to have an intention to make sure that we're developing these skills for them, right? Okay. And so that's what I do. And part of my other program is LAY, which is Little Adults in Development. And that's where we talk about what I just talked, belly time, different things that you can do to help your child develop if there's a delay in their development, and also help them stimulate their sensories, right? We want that their senses, their sight, their hearing, their taste, their touch, those type of things is also part of my program as well.
Okay, Deborah, I'm gonna do some real unprofessional stuff right now.
Okay.
Normally, like the sun is shining, but it's a kind of overcast day. So I decided to keep the curtains open, the blinds open.
Okay.
But what happens is that it adds too much light and then they can't see you clearly.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go right over by you and close the blinds. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, I wish I had one of them things where we can do a commercial and all that kind of stuff like that. And they can't see you too yet. I hope I got my pants pulled up and stuff like that, because I be sagging sometimes with my overhand and stuff like that. Okay. All right. We back. Okay. Belly time. I've never heard that before, and that's why I had to ask about that. You know what I'm saying? What have you?
There'll probably be a lot of things that I say you've never heard before.
Watch out now.
One of the things
I know everything.
Right.
You know I know everything. Okay, so you start telling me, you're gonna tell me something I ain't don't know. Okay, well, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? I know everything. Okay, so I'm know it all. But go ahead.
What I want to say to the audience that is there's no judgment. This is a safe place to have a conversation.
That's why I wanted. Let me say this. This is what I wanted. That's why I wanted you to ask. And this is no shun or dissing of Kalista, who introduced us. But I was so intrigued and so touched by what it said. I said, I need to talk to this person, this lady, okay, one-on-one. Right. And my shows are predicated upon myself and my guests having one-on-one conversations. Right. And the viewers are simply listening to what we got to say. Right. So this is why I really wanted you back, so that our viewers can hear a little bit more. Okay. Right. All right. Social emotional learning. Yes. I had never even heard that phrase before, but can you break that down a little bit for my viewers?
Social emotional learning is about where our social emotional learning is about where our emotions is, how we problem solve, how we critically think or not critically think, how we view challenges, right? How we handle things. What do we do with our emotions? How do we handle our anger? These emotions, what I want to say is these emotions are normal, right? It's normal to cry. It's normal to get frustrated. I got a little frustrated this morning myself, right? Right. But what we want to help our children understand is when they're angry, they can voice and say, I'm feeling very angry right now. I need to walk away. So I'm angry and I'm gonna throw the chair across the room in the classroom, right? And so we want to teach that. So social emotional learning is about the social emotional that we all deal with. This is, we cry, we get frustrated, we're depressed, we are saddened, we're irritated, right? We're annoyed. We have all these emotions. And unfortunately, with young children, they only identify with maybe 3 or 4. Either I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm angry, right? They don't understand that they're angry could be really is because they're disappointed, right? Because mom said I could do this, and now I trusted her on Wednesday we could do it, and now it's changed. And this is the 3rd time it happened. And so, and so I'm angry and I'm throwing chairs and I'm throwing a fit, but really what I am is disappointed. I'm hurt.
Now, allow me, if you will, you use the term emotion. My definition of emotion, when I look at the etymology of the word, is energy in motion. Those are your emotions, energy in motion. Right. So understanding that energy in motion, right? When children don't have the words to express what they're feeling, let me back up a little bit. When children don't have the words to express what they're feeling, they act out on what they're feeling.
They act out.
They act out when they don't have the words. So what I find in a lot of school systems, the school system teaches vocabulary, but they don't teach grammar. So they have a good vocabulary, but grammar and syntax to able to put those words together to rightly express what they're feeling.
That's right.
And when you don't have that, the frustration, or as you said, the disappointment or the anger comes out and they act out. Blocks knocked all over the place.
And then what we do,
go ahead.
We address the behavior.
We address the behavior.
We forget about the emotion. So we don't tap in. And what I train people to do is say, I can see that you're angry. How can I help you? Can you share with me why you're feeling this way? What happened that made you feel this way, right?
Okay.
Open-end questions. So we call it open-end questions.
Okay.
You ask those open-end questions, then you get information. But we have to first start teaching children that it's okay to communicate.
Okay. Let's hit me with this then, all right? You said we have to first teach, right? But what if I don't have the skills to communicate what my feelings or my thoughts, and I don't have the language to do it? I don't have the grammar, the syntax to do that. Right. So what we have is a lot of noise in between each other, and we don't understand that I'm subject to act out on my emotions and what I'm thinking because I'm not able to express what I'm feeling. So what about the parent or this instructor or whoever that be when they're not equipped to do with that?
That's why it takes a village.
Okay, talk to me then.
That's why it takes a village to raise a child.
Right.
Because what we have to do is really look into our community, into our resources, and figure out if you can identify that you're struggling in an area and to deny yourself to help, then you're cheating your own self. Okay. And you're cheating everyone else around you, right? And so we must heal first in order to heal every other people around us. So we must overcome our own shortcomings in order for that our testimony or our story to impact someone else. Okay. I want somebody to show me. So this is why I'm convinced of it. I was a product of all of this that I teach. Okay. I was that angry child, right? I was that kid that would be so angry, take the hinges, hear what I'm telling you, this is truth. Take the hinges off the door and not even remember and black out. And people wanted to deal with my anger, not understanding that I was dealing with the abandonment. Okay. I was dealing with the rejection, right? I was dealing with the not being seen and not being heard. I remember walking through the alley around 15 years old by myself, and my words was, God, if I could live till I'm 18, because kids become hopeless when they don't have this. Okay. This is so important. If I can make it till I'm 18, I'm good. You know, when you said that and walking through the alley, and then, you know, I was using south side of Ypsilanti as my center of my universe. There's maybe one or two alleys on the south side of Ypsilanti. A lot of people don't even know that they exist. But when you say alleys, you're from California. You're from California, right? Lots of alleys. You had lots of alleys, right? So I want people to visualize, because my experience of California life and California living, especially let me get it right now, Inglewood. 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 I like Snoop when he say that, but Inglewood and Dr. Dre and stuff like that. And I want them to see in the context of what you're experiencing, that you're walking through the alleys up in there, right? Because I'm listening to some of those old rap songs, the rap videos, and some of the movies. Right. And you're walking through there, and you are in an environment, boys in the hood alley, right? I was in the same kind of alley. Right, there you go. And so you just said, if I can just make it. So I'm 18 years old. I felt like I have done all that I needed to do on this earth. Okay. Because I was that hopeless, right? And I did not know how to communicate to any adult. Okay. Even if my mother did not have the skill, this is very important. If you can't communicate and you find that your parents may be struggling, right, understand that there is someone else that you may be able to go to. It may be the principal. It may be your grandmother. It may be grandparents. It may be an aunt. Find a safe place where you can learn how to communicate, or someone that you feel safe with communicating with. I did not have that. Okay. So I went to where? Where else am I going to go? But to the streets. Right. Exactly. Right. So I went to the streets. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this, because as I learned how to do this myself, it's what empowered me. It's what helped me. Right. It's what's changed me. And I've watched so many children's lives be changed by just empowering them with information. This is information, strategies, techniques, and tools. Okay. Don't we all need them? Yes, indeed. Okay. In every aspect of our lives, we need to have strategies, right? Okay. We need to have a clear plan. We need to have tools, right? Even our walk in Christ, he gives us strategies, he gives us tools, and he has a plan. He says, write your plan down, make a vision, make it clear. And so that's what we're doing. This is my goal to do. And well, it's not a goal to do, it's what I'm doing. It's what you do, one child, one family at a time, right? is to change the perspective and how we see ourselves as individuals, and knowing that we can and have the power to empower our children in a different way that does not break their spirit.
Okay. Now, I like that, how you broke that down. But in the public school system, contrasted to Montessori school system.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. So so in the public school system, right? I don't believe that the public school system was ever designed to give you an education. Etymology and semantics is what I love. The root of education is educar or educare, depending on who you're talking to. And what it means is to bring out. That is what an education is. And that is what a teacher is supposed to do. That is what an instructor or mentor is supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And they are supposed to bring out within you. The reason why I say that the public school system wasn't designed to be education, because it's to put inside of a teacher, a student. I'm instilling my values, my thoughts, my beliefs on how you should function in our society, right? How you should function in our society. And so therefore, I am going to put into you my values, my thoughts, and the things that I think that you should need, as to opposed to bringing out of you who you are.
Right.
Okay. So that's why I said what I said about the public system, school system contrasted with, slow down, Bryan, with a Montessori type of school system. You get what I mean? Where each child learns on his own and based upon their culture, their life experience, and where they're at.
Right.
There's no, if you will, in some places like there's no AE felling, because you're not all doing the same things. You're working at who you are.
Right.
So in a public school system, right? How does that work?
Well, we have to understand the public school system was designed many decades ago, right?
Okay, we're getting somewhere.
And it hasn't been revolved. It has not changed with the times.
Right.
It has been written in stone, and there's not been much change for it. And so, but guess what? The world around us and our children
has, yes.
Right. And so what we need to do, and that's the whole point of why I pressed towards doing and getting this into the school, the importance of it, because we need to change some of the dynamics of school and their perception on how children learn, right? And what's unfortunate is they believe that children learn one way,
right?
And if they don't fit in that box, then something's wrong with them. Right. They're isolated. And then they're labeled.
Right.
When simply no one really learns the same way. Even if you learn so I'm a learner, I like to do the work and teach me, right?
Okay.
Some people are visual. Some people are audio, they have to hear it. Some people have to see it. So they're readers. They read that information and they get it. But even if we have that in common, I am still going the way that I do it, and I have to actually do it and learn at the same time. You're still not going to move the way I move.
Right.
Right. We can still have the same gifts and the same talent, but you're still not going to teach it the way I teach it. There's only one way, one Deborah, and I teach it the way I teach it. And we may have so many things in common, but it still will not be the same. You may impact a whole different type of people than I may, but we still learn the same way. But there's still those different things about us. And the school system is not designed to meet the needs of those children that have those unique, different ways of learning. Yeah. And what we see it to be is a bad thing. Yes. Because this child learns this way. And so
there's something must be wrong with him.
But it's not necessarily. Right. It is not necessarily something wrong with them. They just learn different.
Right.
And the school system is not designed. I don't believe that our government, I'm not saying, I'm just keeping it real. I don't believe our government has really invested and understand the importance of educating our children.
I know you said you believe. I know they have. Okay. I know. Right. Go ahead though. Right.
Because we're missing so many elements, and time has shown us over and over again that we're missing something, and so we need to go rewrite.
Right.
We need to go rewrite the school system policies,
right,
and look from a different perspective in today's time, not in 1914
How about 1954? 54. How about I go right there? Brown versus the Board of Education.
Right.
How about if I go there? Okay.
We need to really rewrite it.
Okay.
And then provide our teachers. You know, I was so saddened the other day. I saw a counselor that is hired at the school system to teach social emotional, but she's seeking outside of the school system to get her supplies.
That's sacrilegious. Why would see let me see. You make me mad. You just make me mad because let me tell you why you make me mad. You didn't make me mad because what you just said. They were seeking outside of the school system to get supplies. Every year before school start, what do? We have to have a bag supply drive, backpack, free backpack. Everybody and their cousins is getting free backpacks. I see the school system seeking outside of the school system, right, to supply the school's needs. Right here in Michigan, right here in Ypsilanti. And I hope I don't get too much sidetracked. But when the lottery was first brought on the scene here in Michigan, I want to say 1972, 73, 74, something like that. The winnings, or not the winnings, let's put it away, the losings were supposed to go towards the school system. Something ain't jiving.
That's actually how they got people persuaded to allow a lottery to exist in our communities.
Right.
It's because we were persuaded that money would go to our
school system.
But what I found is we're pulling more away from our school system, because years ago when I was going to school, my mother didn't have to buy our supplies. We actually have to supply our own children today supplies in order for them to be educated in school. Right. And if a parent is unable to, they actually take all the supplies that we buy off that supply list. Right. And whether in Marysville, which is in Washington, they would take all the supplies that the families brought in, because if there were children that could not, they would be able to also pull from those supplies, and they would bring them all together in the classroom. And that would be the supplies for the school, for the school year in that classroom. So the families are now making that sacrifices, and the schools are not providing it. And unfortunately, they are providing less and less every year. The list gets longer and longer. Right. So,
you know, what was funny is that they didn't have no problem supplying me with a pencil and eraser and notebook paper when I was in prison. I ain't had no problem getting no paper, you know, plenty of pencils and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But anyway, I don't want to digress too much more and get into the politics, excuse me, of the economics of the school system, because
I think it's important that people understand that our schools are in crisis as well.
And you know what's
embarrassing? Children are in crisis in school.
You know what's it's embarrassing me, and I know schools are based upon property taxes and millages and all that kind of stuff on the local economy or the municipality. But it's really embarrassing me because let me first say, we got some good administrators. We got some good teachers. We got some good principals, and I know that, and because many of them I know on a personal level, and I know their compassion and I know their professionalism. Let me put that real plain, so it doesn't appear that I'm picking on the Ypsilanti community schools, because I am not. In particular, on the administration through the teaching level, counselors and stuff like that, social workers. I know of many of them on a personal level. I know their heart. But it's embarrassing me when I look at my alma mater, and then I go less than 5 miles down the road, and I'm looking at Ann Arbor Public Schools. I look at Saline Schools. You get what I'm saying? I'm looking at Dexter Schools, and I'm looking up there, and I'm like, man, what the hell? So we're talking about the money that was pooled together from the lottery losings. How come the money isn't given to people who need the most help, should get the help the most? You feel what I'm saying? You go out to West Bloomfield Hills schools and stuff like that, and you're almost like you're on a college campus. Matter of fact, you are on a college campus, dormitory type settings, beautiful places for education, sports fields, immaculate and stuff like that. And I look at mine, something ain't right about the social equity
Mm-hmm.
in the distribution of the wealth.
Right.
And that needs to be addressed if you think that.
That's why we have to vote.
That's why we got to vote.
That's why we got to vote.
Yeah. And
the right people in.
Yeah, we got.
And
I'm trying not to try to stay off there.
And hold ourselves accountable.
Okay, right.
So I say us because we're all
I
included.
do. Let me just tell you this. I hold us accountable.
Right.
Yeah, so much so I got some folks pissed at me. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm holding you accountable. You know what I mean? You ain't just sitting up there in the office collecting no paycheck when I'm looking at right over here at the bus stop. Kids hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I walk right over here to this bus stop. You get what I'm saying? Right next block over. And I see kids walking up and down the street with blankets and sleeping bags. Children.
Mm-hmm.
Right here.
Right here.
Like they're in a third world country.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. You know?
Our children are in a crisis.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm totally convinced of that. Mm-hmm. Not only are our children in a crisis in this time, but our children are also in a mental crisis.
Okay.
Mentally in a crisis because children are starting younger and younger, trying to self-resolve their issues, their pains.
Self-resolve. Give me an example of how a child would self-resolve their issues.
Inhaling spray paint.
Okay.
Overly taking cough medications, all type of substance that they get their hands onto to distract them from the pain or the turmoil in the home or the abuse, the sexual abuse. Let's talk about it. The sexual abuse, the mental abuse, the physical abuse, right? The loneliness, the rejection, the abandonment. One of the parents is not in the home, or the parent could be in the home and they still be in abandonment.
Hello.
So children are trying to find ways, and younger children are starting to experiment with marijuana, taking pills, all these other things that are accessible to them, and they get them available to them because they're being prescribed these medications, right? Because they have ADHD, and then they start misusing it.
Ryan Griffin, I see you out there, homeboy. I don't know if you know Miss Deborah Thomas, but as soon as football season's over with, brother, I need you back at your seat in the table. I don't know if you know Ryan Griffin. You know him, okay, the good brother know him, right? And good brother. And that's what I was talking about. I need to get a bigger table. I got the chairs.
Right.
I got to get the table, but Ryan's out here right now. Last week, I'm purposely trying to not utilize the name. But I was engaged with Ryan said, absolutely. I was participating in an event that involves some adult males and adolescent males. And this one boy, he couldn't have been no older than 10, 11 years old. And Deborah, let me tell you like this. You all right? I mean, so when he came to me, because one of the first brothers was aware of his behavior, that he couldn't stay awake. And you heard me share this on the last show I was here.
Right.
I know me when I see me. And this brother, this young boy, somebody gave him a blow, heroin, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because he's displaying all the behavior.
Behaviors, right.
And I mean it for real. Do you hear me? I'm talking about completely out. I almost went, how did you get here? What parent brought you here and dropped you off? All this is going through here, but I'm trying to stay in my lane, but maybe I shouldn't have stayed in my that's maybe
I have a very difficult time staying
in my lane, right?
My lane is to address it.
Yeah. So, but when he came to me, I'm talking to him just like when me and you talking, and he had dropped down, just like I'm talking to a dope fiend. I say, hey man, you all right? Yeah. So I got with him personally. I said, you take any medications? And he said, yeah. And he described to me the medication, which was a Ritalin, Adderall, methamphetamine type of base drug. You know what I'm talking about, right? And then before he told me that, let me back up a little bit. This is what they said. And this is because you triggered something to me. I said, why do you take the medication? And he said, is to make him go to sleep at night. So I'm listening to him now. I'm asking further questions, right? I said, so you need to get to sleep at night. And he said, no, what happened was the people in the house kept him awake all night long. So he couldn't go to sleep. So when he finally got in a safe place, he was able to go to sleep. Now, this wasn't a child that was asleep, because you don't pass out in the middle of section like that in a hard chair. Child is what you had said was he was over medicated. He was over medicated. And
this is a real thing.
This is a real reality. It touched me because, like I told you, I know me when I see me. You get what I mean? I know me when I see me. And we talked about that last time we were on the show, where I think you and I kind of somewhat agreed that we don't believe in medicating.
I don't think that's medicating students. Unfortunately, our school system believe that is one of the first solutions to our children that have difficult behaviors or have challenges. Unfortunately, I don't particularly believe in it because it's just a first introduction to drugs.
Thank you. Because when you understand how Ritalin and Adderall works, let's bring it down to a street level. What it is meth, which is speed, right? Which in an adult, if they take it, it hypes them up and what have you do. In a child, they are become acutely focused, because now they're so focused that they're not aware of anything except for what's at hand. And yes, they do become, Ryan says, everyone on medicine is over medicated. We are electric people, not chemical. All right, brother, now you're getting metaphysical on my show right here. You're gonna have to come in here, and you just can't be dropping this on here and expect us to explain it to the viewers. But I know exactly what you're saying. Okay, that's Ryan. Okay. And you're right, brother. Okay. The school system wants to control our children like the prison system. Sister Joy X Thomas. Peace. Okay. So we hitting on something. Okay. So go ahead, sister.
Here's the thing is, I want to get back kind of to teaching our children how to empower them, right? Because what happened is, what we're doing is we're going around about what the solution is, right? So what we're doing is, instead of doing the work, because we lack wanting to do the work,
right?
The system in itself, instead of doing the work that we need to do, we're doing the second thing, which is medicating.
Right.
That should never be the first alternative to a solution for a child. Because I'm curious, I've never had to deal with it in my life. So I'm speaking hypothetically. I'm not coming with any knowledge or facts here. But what I am curious of, how many programs do we have in place when we put these children on medication to wean them off of it when they don't need it anymore?
Hello. Now, I never heard that. I never thought of it. Right. Okay.
If we're not weaning them off and we're just taking them from this, and they're used to this medication being in their system, what do you think they're going to do?
They're going to go seek some more.
They're going to go seek other medications.
And that's what they're
doing.
Right.
So they're going to go to maybe marijuana. They're going to go to doing this spray and with paint and stuff and sniffing glue and whatever they can get a hold to give them back that feeling.
Right.
Because our body becomes immune to that, just like it do with coffee. You get hooked on that coffee, you gotta have your coffee. Right?
Don't start no stuff up in here. Come in here, my son. Don't come in here, shop. I turn your mic off because you like that.
I'm just curious, do we have programs? If anybody has an answer out there, what is the solution of weaning our children off of these heavy medications?
Thursday, we just got a brother, an Uber, right at the bus station, to take him down the Harbor Light down in Monroe, right, to be weaned off of a heavy medication. You know what that heavy medication was? Alcohol. We had to get him into emergency detoxification.
That's right. It becomes.
And without that alcohol in his system, he would die. People don't understand this sometimes, why I am so compassionate towards persons who are addicted to alcohol, persons who are addicted to opiates.
Right.
Because weaning them off of them, you have to be weaned off of it.
Right.
And a person who is addicted to alcohol, if they don't have it in their system, they go into the DTs, and they can die. People have died.
Oh yes.
Have not can have. I know. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
So they have to be detoxified and weaned off. And unfortunately, if you're not going to try to seek treatment, what we were talking about, to be weaned off,
right,
the only alternative, the solution is to get you one more drink.
That's
I'm 100.
That's a solution for every addiction.
It's a solution for everything. So when they ask me, brother, based upon what you've been through and what you came from, how can you give another person $5 to go get them a half pint? Empathy. Empathy. That's all. Empathy. Yep.
Well, you understand that part of the world.
I understand it. Empathy. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Empathy. But we're talking about children.
Yes.
And it's the same thing. Now, they used to try to say that marijuana, alcohol was a gateway drug. And for a long time, I followed that philosophy and begin to understand sugar is a gateway drug.
It sure is.
You know what I'm saying? Sugar is
most people that are recovered from alcohol and other drugs, they become sugar addicts.
Yeah.
They love that sugar.
You should see me, look. You should see me get into them Snickers. Right. I'm just gonna put it on to you, you know what I mean? We ain't gonna play.
Right.
We gonna play with this thing. I could put a hurting on them Reese sticks, them Reese cups, and the miniature Snickers. Shoot, I'm going in there like that. Right. Real conversation.
But that's real conversation. Okay. But see, that's acceptable.
Right. It's acceptable. Come on. It's acceptable. It's acceptable.
It's acceptable. Or if it's not the sugar and the candies and the zoos, I call them zoozas and
wham. Right.
And if it's not that, then it's the coffee.
It's the coffee.
Or the Coca-Cola.
Exactly.
Right. It's something. Yeah. Right. But those things are acceptable.
They're acceptable. A lot of people don't know that there's more caffeine and in a Mountain Dew than it is in a regular cup of coffee. But it's acceptable.
That's true.
I went up to St. Joe Hospital on Thanksgiving Day, and I went up on 11th floor to deliver my cousin Thanksgiving Day dinner. And you know, when I got off the elevator, you know what the first thing I seen? A vending machine with Mountain Dew on there. You talking about return, you know, getting people to return. You know what I'm saying? I said, look at this. First thing in St. Joe, I get off the elevator, they go up. No, I didn't get no Mountain Dew. You know what I mean? But no Pepsi in the machine. Right. Don't be messing with me on my shoulder. Okay. Okay. So how do we wean these children off of these drugs when it becomes time?
That's what I would like to know.
Okay.
I'm not really sure that we have any programs. I've known lots of children on it, but I've never heard anyone talk about how they got their child off, other than they just stopped giving it to them. And we need to have, if that is going to be a part of a temporary solution, then we need to have also something in place to make sure that our children are being weaned off of these heavy drugs in a way that's going to help them still be successful. Okay. Right? Where they're not going to go be looking for some other way to feel what they were feeling when they're on that medication. Because at the end of the day, even though it may problem solve some of their behaviors temporarily so that they can function within the schools and society, at the end of the day, they are still on drugs.
Deborah, I'm going to counter what you just said. I disagree with you. It don't help the child get through what they're getting through. It helps the teacher get through what the teacher gets through.
You're absolutely. It helps everyone else around them to be able to function without their behavior.
Yep.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay.
Right.
So how do we get?
But we have told ourselves, right, that the child is being more successful. There may be some evidence.
It's evidence.
There may be some evidence that child may be functioning better within their peer group or within their classroom, around their friends, and social events and things like that. But are they really aware, and are they growing socially, emotionally, intellectually? Are they really growing? Because at some place, some of these children, they begin to just exist.
Thank you. And I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen just.
You lose their personality.
I've seen it.
You lose their character. They don't laugh like they used to. So you may subdue some of those other behaviors, but you're also affecting the other things. And that's the reason why I say control the environment and not the child.
Right.
And if we can't help the child without having to control it, then we need to come up with a different plan. We need to start thinking outside the box. We need to change our perspective. And doing that is by giving kids tools, strategies, and information. When your child says why, give them the answer to that why so they can learn how to be critical thinkers. If I asked you why every time you instruct me to do something and you say, because that's what I need you to do. I will never know that you want me to take those cables and put them in there because that's where the sound comes from.
That's where sound comes from, right?
Right? So it's the same thing with our children. We have to, educating our children is just not with academics, right? Academics. We need to educate our children with knowledge. We need to educate our children with information, understanding who they are. What are their own individual values? Do they know who they are?
One of the questions that was asked last week is self-knowledge. And the two young men who were sitting in front of me at a particular time, and they was looking, and I said, "Who are you?" He said, "My name is John Doe." I said, "No, that's what they call you. I asked you, who are you?" And he looked at me. He said, "My name is John Doe." I said, "No, that's what your mama put on your birth certificate, and that's why we call you. I didn't ask you none of that, brother. I asked you, who are you?" So I started getting philosophical with him. I said, "Okay, so you were birthed from out of your mother." He said, "Yeah." And then your mother was birthed out your grandmother. Yeah. Then your mother was birthed out your great-great-grandmother. Right. And so now he's sitting up in here and he's like scratching his head now because now he's thinking. I said, "Yeah, that's who they told you who you are. This is what they told you who you are. I'm asking you, who are you?"
Right.
And you know what he said? They both were so intrigued that one of them said, "Man, I'm gonna try that on somebody else." But when you say self-knowledge, it's not taught because we really don't know who we are.
Right.
Well, let me say, I'm sure you know who you are. I know who I am. You get what I'm saying? I just simply, a lot of people ask me how come I didn't change my name or different name or stuff like that. My name is Bryan Foley, right?
Right.
That's just so that when I hear it out, I can respond to who you were specifically addressing.
No, you calling me.
I know you calling me. That's just responding to that. You get what I'm saying? But when we get down and start talking about who I am, I know who I am.
Right.
You get what I mean? Right. So our children are not taught that, you know what I'm saying, as self-knowledge, right? They're taught to respond and react and not be critical thinking as to certain things. Yeah. Right. But how do we get, hey, Gail, what's going on? She said, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, right, Gail? I agree with you, but me and Sister Deborah here is talking about what do we do with that knowledge? Just the acquisition of knowledge, but not having the ability to apply the knowledge in the proper place.
We have to give them the information behind the knowledge.
There you go. Okay.
We have to give them the information behind the knowledge.
Right. So in the school system, we're simply taught how to retain knowledge. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
Somebody has said one time, I have never been, and I haven't been asked either. I have not been asked one time to see my high school diploma. Ain't nobody ever asked to see it. I just check the box and say, do you have it?
Right. Do
you have one? Okay. Right. And I just check the box. Yeah, I got one. Now go on to the next phase, right? I've known people to apply for a job as a I'm being just using this as an example. Okay. Apply for hypothetical. Apply for a job as an administrative assistant, but their degree is in automotive mechanics.
Right. Okay.
The job is asking for a degree in administration, but your degree is in automotive. You're hired. Even though you've never worked in administration before, and what you went to school for 4 years was automation or automotive, but you get this job. You know why? Because you demonstrated the ability that you can follow directions. Right. That's what that piece of paper on that wall simply says, is straight up and down, that you got the ability to follow and to believe whatever I have taught you, and I'll give you A+ if you can regurgitate everything that I've told you to do.
That's what you believe.
Huh?
You believe that?
That's my philosophy. Go ahead, but hit me. Go on, let's get into it.
I believe my degree.
Okay.
My degrees
Okay.
Also back up that I have the knowledge.
Okay.
I think that's a partial. I think there's a partial truth to what you're saying, right? Because it is a reality. You can get hired in another position. And a lot of people don't never work the job that they actually have their degree in.
Okay.
That's very fortunate when that happens for you. Know that you're blessed.
But then they ask you have a 4-year college degree.
But they actually have a 4-year college degree. So your degree shows discipline.
Okay.
So I agree with that.
Okay, all right.
So I do agree with you with that.
Right.
But I also think that
I didn't make her bad,
I
brother.
think there's also some extended information that goes along with that stifles along with that is that my education also confirms that I have knowledge in what I'm talking about.
Right.
Or what I'm presenting, right? Because society wants you to have these degrees. But what I believe, I worked hard. I went to school many years and constantly getting training and classes just because I want to stay above the game, right?
You know what? I'm going to tell you this right here, Miss Deborah.
But I want to say this. I believe experience is more powerful than just knowledge in itself.
I told you
experience, working it, living it, seeing what you know work. Because you can have the knowledge and never see it manifest and never see it move or work in someone's life. But if you have that knowledge and you put it to work and you have experience with it, then I can sit here with confidence and say, what I do works because my experience has given me proof to it.
See, I'm going to say this and then we're going to get somewhere. We're going to try to get out of here because you said you had somewhere else to go. You would have been able to demonstrate exactly what you have been demonstrating on this show, on this one from the last show and this one without a degree. You didn't learn nothing with everything that you just been sharing with me on this right here. That piece of paper that you came from that piece of paper. That piece of paper simply says that when you went for the job, that you have white folks' permission to come in here and teach this. You ain't learn what you
starting stuff.
I know I'm starting stuff. That's what I do. You smart enough. See, let me say this. Your life experiences
with children and families.
With children, stuff like that didn't come from that school. It came from your experience and came from within. You can't teach what you know in school.
Now here, that is true. But I started with the knowledge. I put it to work. And then I was strategic and intentional about the growth in it. And then my gift, right? Then my knowledge and my gift made room for each other. And then it flowed. So I think knowledge is important, right?
Without a doubt.
You can understand the word of God, have the knowledge and the wisdom of the word of God. But also what empowers you to believe what it says is the experience of the manifestation of the power of God in your life. See, so when that happens, I'm just the same way I'm persuaded about what I do is the same way I'm persuaded about who God is. Because not only do I have knowledge of the word of God, but I also have the experience of his power moving in my life. There you go.
Right. And you can't receive that.
And you can't receive that. So I believe that your truth is true, but my truth is true.
Yeah, this is me and you talking. They just listen.
There's a collaboration.
Right. You're right.
There's
exactly.
A collaboration. They work hand in hand. You can't really deny the other without denying. They kind of work together. Yeah, they like cousins.
Yeah, right. My great grandfather told me one time he had this Montego Mercury Montego, and the transmission went out on it, right? And my grandfather, I realized the way that my grandfather thinks, and this is what he says to me. He says, "Hey boy, can you fix that transmission in my car?" Now, you had to know my grandfather to know that. So now I'm trying to think my grandfather. And I said, if I had the instruction book, I could fix it. My grandfather said to me, he said, the white man who made that transmission didn't have no instruction book. Think on your own.
Think on your own.
Learn how to, we can figure it out. Critical thinking.
Look, let me tell you, I didn't put a mini vacuum cleaners back together and work on TVs and all that.
And that's what I'm saying.
But that's because of critical thinking. But guess what? I was challenged to be a critical thinker when I was younger.
Right.
So what happens is our parents are not equipped with all this stuff, but we do have some of it.
Right.
Right. Okay. So my mother taught me how to be a critical thinker. Mm-hmm. She made us think outside the box.
Right.
She did not answer and do everything outside for us. Yep. Right. Mm-hmm. She did not do that. So I grew up with that part. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm an organizer. I'm very strategic and where things go in place. I take very good care of things because my mother taught me how to do those things.
Right.
But my mother was not an emotional person. Right. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn that from somewhere else.
Right.
Right. But here's the thing about it is when we teach our children young how to be critical thinkers, that's why you answer their why, right? That's why you give them that information. And then you let them say, so this is what needs to happen. And you allow them to make some mistakes. Let your children make some mistakes.
Talk to them.
Because they grow when they make mistakes. If they make the mistake over and over, and you send them back and say, go try it again, you're almost there. You almost got it right. Now, here's what you need to do. Here's what happened. So you've done this part. You did this part. So what do you think is missing? So they can think themselves, right? Critical thinkers. My mother used to do this. If she would tell us all the time, she was a single mother raising 4 children by herself. And she was like, look, we don't have the funds for this. This is at very young. We don't have the funds for when we would have those moments. Because my mother worked for Time, Daily, Mass, and Claire, traveled around the world. So there was some time in our life we lived very well. But at the very beginning, before she got there, times were difficult, right? And so she would tell us, okay, if you guys I didn't bought toothpaste 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to keep doing that. The toilet paper's already gone. She would say those kind of things. My mother would drive us to the store, true story. Drive us to the store and say, okay, get out and go in there and get the toilet paper, the toothpaste. And we standing there like, well, how are we going to do that, Mom? We don't have no money. She said, my point exactly. Get back in the car. Now, when I tell you to be cautious and aware of and she would show us, you take this much and you put it on your toothbrush, right? She just didn't just leave it for us to try to just figure it all.
She demonstrated
for us, right? Because she was teaching us. And this is what my mother told me. I needed to know if anything ever happened to me, that you guys would be able to survive.
Yes. And that's it. And that's what I like right there. Miss Deborah is coming up on an hour. And I know you have somewhere else to be, and we're going to respect people's time. But with the full knowledge that I would like to have you back. And also, too, if you have something that you would say, I need, Bryan, I got some information I want to put out to your audience.
I got some information, Bryan, I would like to put out to you.
Then, you know what? Let me this, because we've been sitting out here talking, but in respect of your time, I was going to try to summarize it. But what I didn't want to do is to not allow our viewing and listening audience not to hear what you had to say.
Right.
So take this time right here and share what you feel as though our viewers and our listeners need to hear right now. And I'm gonna sit back and see if I got a bag of popcorn up in here and take the camera off me and let you do your thing. What I really want to say
to the viewers is that I know that this is a lot of information, and this is really not a judgmental place. This is not an unsafe place. It's a very safe place. I'm not judging in no means. I want you to know that I am Deborah Thomas. I am a human being, and I've made a lot of mistakes as I raised my children. I made many of them because I did not have this information. If I had this information, I am sure that my children would have had a better chance. They are doing well, but they could have been doing so much better, right? And so that's what this information is for me. It's really important not to judge or to criticize or to look in with a snaring eye, but to just simply say, let's stop and break some of the generational curses that we've been taught how to speak to our children, how to educate our children that was passed on to us, right? I had somebody tell me, I believe it was Mom, she gave me an example. When her grandmother was coming up, she used to take a pot and put a ham in it and cut off the sides, right? Okay. And put it in there. And so from generation on, and as generations moved on, everybody in the family would take the ham, cut it off the sides, and put it in a pot, not knowing and understanding it was just the way we did it. And then they come to find out the only reason why great-great-grandma did that is because she never had a pot big enough for the ham.
Wow.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
I hear exactly what you're saying.
We have to understand, self-check first. Are we really doing what we're doing because we believe in it? Is it empowering our children? Is it helping our children? And how do we feel about what we do? Because we are human beings. I know when I used to discipline my children the way I disciplined them, and I mean, I did it old school.
I understand.
Okay?
I understand. We fully what you're saying.
Right. Mom used to pull one leg under the bed because I'll be crawling under it. Well, I repeat that same behavior with my children, right? But what I've learned is as I self-checked and I examined myself, why am I really doing this? I'm not getting the results. My children are angry, right? They're frustrated. I'm not really helping them because I really don't understand why I'm even disciplining them this way, right? So get an understanding. And all the things that we do, the Bible tells for us to get an understanding. Let's get an understanding on why we're doing what we're doing and is it effective. If you're repeating a behavior and it's not effective, it's not helping yourself and your children, your family, then let's think about how we can do it different. I want to say to you, I have classes. Can I say that?
You can do whatever you want to do.
I have classes that are online, that are free to the community, that actually teach this, because this is not something, we don't come with a manual.
Get the people the information where they can get it too.
Okay, so we don't come with a manual as parents. And I am very clear on that. That's the reality. But there also the reality is the lack of knowledge. We perish, and we are a perishing community because we don't have the knowledge. I have knowledge that I want to share. And if I need to get it out there one family at a time, one child at a time, and teach other people how to do it as well. Because if I get one family, one child at a time, that family is going to say, wow, these resources, this is changing my life, my family's life, my children's life. Guess what? They're going to share. So I don't need a global impact. I need a in-house community impact, which will impact globally. I may not be here to see it,
right? But
I believe that it will work if we continue to work together. You can go to my website, which is www.hisgom. That is healing from the inside out. God is my medicine. Those what those initials are for. You can also, I will leave you with my card as well. You can contact him. I will post it on my page, which is under Deborah Thomas. I will post that information on my page as well. But if you go to my website, you can leave a request for information. You can also see my classes that are coming available as well. I want to encourage you to think outside the box. Recheck the way you view your views, and are they true to yourselves? And let's just come together and break some of these generational curses. I believe that it starts here. If we want the school to change, if we want the people around us to change, then we have to be willing to sacrifice and change ourselves. We have to start with ourselves first, with our homes first, with our families, and then we're able to hold others accountable.
Yeah. You know, you said a lot. On a personal level, you said something about breaking the generational curses and breaking those chains. You know what I'm saying? One of my sons actually told me, he said that I was the poster child of the absentee Black father. Now that hurt, but he wasn't lying.
Right.
But of my 5 children, right, all 5 of my children are doing excellent. Excellent, right? By not no doing of mine, because I was the proverbial absentee Black father. But the breaking of the curse came from me. Curse came from me absent from their lives and not carrying on that trauma onto them.
Influence.
Yep. So when a whole other story. So when my children say, I don't never want to be like you, because you was, then I have done my job.
Right.
I didn't set out to do that.
Right.
I didn't choose to not to be part of their lives, but the mission was accomplished.
Right.
But out my doing.
And so to break those curses, you have to change the behavior.
Thank you.
You have to identify it, recognize that you have it,
Yeah. And exactly. It's present, right? And I identified it later. Let me just say it like that. And I ain't trying to brag or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting there trying to say it does not feel comfortable, does not feel good to have those relationships like we see on TV, or those normal relationships. It don't feel good. But what feels good when I look at my children and I'm like, look at them right there. They doing damn good. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Without the caustic father's hand involved anything like that. You get what I'm saying? So we all grow. Absolutely. You get what I mean? But you said something like that. You said you to put in the work, but you may not see the labor that you've done yourself, right? It's a very rare person who actually plants an apple tree who gets to eat the apple.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Absolutely.
You plant the fruit, not for yourself, but for others.
That's right.
But in this microwave generation, we want everything right here and now, and not understanding the continuation of life. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the children.
Which we don't understand is bringing in a whole nother curse.
Yes. Right. You see what I'm saying?
We don't want to work for anything. We want everything quick.
We want everything quick. Right.
So we can't think critically because we don't even challenge ourselves, because I just get up and Google it.
Right. Get up and Google it.
What?
You get what I mean?
Well, I got to think how to solve it. Because I can just Google it.
Yeah.
And like I want everything instantly.
Yeah. How did Jesus turn water into wine? Do you really want to have this conversation with me? I'll blow your whole mind on that one. But
I want to say is, when you said that, how you wasn't in their lives.
Right.
And I'm just going to hit this just a little bit.
Right.
But when you said that you were not in their lives, and that's what broke it for them, allowed it to be broken because they were not influenced by your
toxic behavior.
Your behavior. And so I want to say this. Someone said this, I believe it was my daughter, Brandy. She said that we have to be aware that even if something is not operating in us, right, it doesn't mean we wasn't influenced by it. Right. So I'm talking spiritually. You may not be a demon, or a spirit may not be working in you. Right. But because we wrestle against principalities, not against flesh and blood, right? Yeah. But however, you can be influenced by it from generation to generation to generation, right? So that's that taught behavior. Right. That's influencing behavior. So our forefathers it wasn't operating in them, but they were impressed by that, right, from that spirit. And so now it's not in them, but they've been influenced by it. Right. And that influence has passed down from generation to generation. Right. So my mother wasn't possessed with any way. She wasn't dealing with demonic. Right, exactly. Right, like that. Right. But she was influenced by it. Right. The influences. Right? The influences of it. Right. So now it gets passed down. And I broke it, right? Right. By knowledge, change behavior, and self-work. Right. Self-work. And that's where we have to start, is with that self-work. Yeah. And like you said, you broke down very succinctly when you said that why was we chopping off the ends of the hand? Right. We just doing stuff and we were actually automaton, just repeat behavior, not knowing why, because it was handed on. And nobody stopped to ask the question why. Because if someone had asked the question why and would have got an answer, it would have stopped it right there. Exactly. Oh, I don't need to chop off the ends of the hand. That's probably where all the good stuff is at. Exactly. You don't even know why. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I just want to encourage people. I know that this is a lot of information. I will leave my information and make sure that people get it for the free classes. All the things that I do, and people ask me all the time, why do I do this free? Because God's given the gift to me free. Right. He's given it to me, and it's an assignment. It is an assignment to heal God's people. It is an assignment to heal our community. It is an assignment to break the curse of the way we think, how we interact with our children, and so that we can reach them by preserving their spirit, preserving their character, preserving that personality, that laughter, that joy, so that they can go out in society and be exactly what we really want them to be, right? The best that they know how to be. Yeah. Be world changers. Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to close it out with that, they say that the system wasn't built for us. This isn't our system. Yes, it was, because we built it. We built it. We pay taxes for it. We maintain it. That's right. And for us to build another system to work for us, it would take us 500 years to rebuild another system. So the system that we have right now,
We can't abandon and burn it down. What we have to do is we have to change it, and make it work for us. So we have to be change makers in our community.
That's right.
You've been listening to Deborah Thomas of Wow World of Wonder. Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Tracy Sweet Touch Production, Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center, Ipsy Cannot Share, and a League of Women Voters. And you've been listening to my newfound friend, Miss Deborah Thomas. And she will be back very soon. I hope to set up when I get my new table in was big enough. I already got the chairs, right? That I can get yourself and Ryan and Khalees to come back in. We can sit around and continue to have this roundtable discussion.
Can I do my business number?
You can do what you want to do. I got a whole bunch of tape running.
My business number.
Slow it down. Give it to them slow too.
It is 469-578-0159. That is my business number. You can also reach me there. I do private online classes by Zoom. So if you have a child that you want to, that have some unwanted behaviors, I call them unwanted behaviors. They're behaviors that get in the way of them being the best part of themselves. And we can tailor those things by giving them some tools and strategies. I also do one-on-one with that. I do family group sessions as well. And I also do parenting classes as well. So if you or desiring more information, you even have questions, even from things that I've said, you need gaining more understanding, and you don't even need a mentor or a coach. You just need to understand more. I am here for you. We're doing this thing together. This is not a solo.
That's right.
This is not a solo.
No.
This is a work. This is a whole orchestra. We have to do this all together. Everybody has a place and a part. I'm going to say that again. The number is 469-578-0159.
Ms. Thomas, when we go to our outro, if you do me a favor, in the comments, type in your phone number in the comment box, okay?
Okay, I'll do that.
So Ear to the Ground 197, like I said, is brought to you weekends, Saturday at 11. My mom gonna kill me if I change the date one more time because she plans around that. So I'm gonna try to keep it Saturday at 11 o'clock. But if we do have to change, we have to do what we do to meet oftentimes our guest availability, and also because of what I do on Saturdays too. You get what I'm saying? But I just want to thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
For taking your time out on this Saturday, this gloomy Saturday, to come out here. And I want to thank Brother Thomas for sitting out here for escorting her. Her king is sitting right out here and reading right here and stuff like that. So as my song says, all power to the people. We're getting ready to tune out, and we see you next week. I've been your guest, your host, your guest, whatever. You know what I mean? My name is Bryan Foley. See you next week.